Alright, we're going to start chapter 5, and this is where we're going to use a lot of trigonometric identities, and I'm going to keep this real short. This first video I'm going to go over the reciprocal identities and also the quotient identities. The reciprocal identities, I already have these listed out, and I kind of have these paired up. I know cosecant and sine are reciprocals of each other, secant and cosine are reciprocals of each other, and cotangent and tangent are reciprocals of each other. So what reciprocal means is you can take 1 over, you can take any trig function and set it equal to 1 over its reciprocal trig function. So that's why I have 1 over sine. I could rewrite cosecant as 1 over sine. I could rewrite sine as 1 over cosecant. And the same holds true for all the other ones, right? 1 over cosine is secant, 1 over secant is cosine. I could say 1 over tangent is cotangent, or 1 over cotangent is the same as tangent. Now, using that, if I have a trig value of one of the trig functions, I could get the reciprocal very easily by just doing 1 divided by whatever that trig value is. So if I look at A, saying, all right, if tangent of A is 0.8, find cotangent. Well, I know cotangent, that's the same as saying 1 over the tangent of A. So I could just take that 0.8 and substitute it in for this tangent of A. So it's just 1 divided by 0.8. When you do that, you get 1.25. That's what cotangent of A equals. The other way of looking at it, reciprocal means if you have a fraction, you just flip it. Tangent of A, 0.8, that's the same as 4/5. And if you flip that, you get 5/4. And 5/4, that's the same as 1.25. So that's another way of looking at it. Now, kind of transitioning that into B, this should be a very, very simple one. If secant of x is 3/4, what's cosine of x? Rather than just do 1 divided by 3/4, these are reciprocals of each other. So just flip the fraction. So cosine of x is just 4/3. That's it. That's all you do. And we kind of worked with these before when doing or coming up with trig values in the unit circle. Okay, last thing, I'm just going to give this to you. Speaking of the unit circle, for quotient identities, this is, I guess, kind of new. Quotient identities. Now, when we did tangent, whoops, made this bigger for you. When we did the unit circle and we put everything in terms of y and x, we said tangent was equal to y over x. Well, we proved in the unit circle that y is the same thing as sine of that angle, and x is the same thing as cosine of whatever angle you're looking at. So we could take tangent of A and say it's equal to the sine of A over cosine of A. Right? Relate it to y over x. Cotangent is just the reciprocal of it. It's x over y. So it's the same thing as saying cosine of A over the sine of A. So you'll see with the 4 other trig functions that are not sine and cosine, we could take them and put them in terms of sine and cosine, which is really going to help us out for the next couple of weeks working with many other identities.